So today I'm going to be creating Technoblade's Orphan Obliterator, which is basically just going to be a normal netherite sword. Well, it could be a normal netherite sword. I kind of made up the design. Except it's going to say Orphan Obliterator on it. It's also going to have a little pig face, which I suppose could still be a normal netherite sword, considering that the nether has to do with pigs for some reason. So next I'm going to create the 2-scale drawing cutout thing of it. And I'm going to use an older sword that I made like a long time ago for reference for the sort of size I want it to be, because I have an issue with making the handles too long and the blades too short with my swords, especially considering that I want this to be sort of a more formidable two-handed sword with a larger blade.
Hey, I'll tell you a little secret of mine. If you promise not to tell, if you have the time. Everyone has gotten you, always on the run. But if you join the syndicate, life could get a little more fun. And all of the horses and all of the men won't learn from history. It's all the same in the end. I've told you once and I'll tell you again. The syndicate is looking for a couple new friends. Couple new friends. Oh. Fight for freedom. Fight.
So the cutout for the Orphan Obliterator ended up being pretty large. So for scale, here's the last sword I made. The sword I used for reference. And then the actual cutout that I just did. Next I'm going to work on the wire core for this, which I've already bent all the pieces for.
In the blaze
the wires in the pommel go out a little bit too far, so I snip off the extra. I just slap on a piece of cardboard over it because it has a really messed up shape that I don't want to have to deal with and try and layer properly. After adding some tape, I move on to the blade of the sword. So, the wire in the center makes the middle part thick, and then the outer parts where it's just paper are really thin. This means that there's a sort of bump in the middle. In order to fix it, I glue thin pieces of cardboard next to the bump to make the change in depth more gradual. I had already cut out the perfect pieces to follow the shape of the bump and the edge of the blade as closely as possible. Because the blade is still really uneven from the layers of cardboard, and you can still see the shape of the wires in the middle, I'm going to have to do some more work to the blade later on. Eventually, I'm going to go and alternate sanding, gluing on a layer of paper, sanding, gluing on paper, sanding paper, until it has a nice, even surface. While doing that, I'm also going to add on some more details. But, for now, I'm going to finish up the blade and then move on to the crossguard, where I'll continue to glue on cardboard in the low spots.
Here, in a greatly simplified form, we have the four elements needed in every timepiece. A source of energy or power, a means of transmitting power, a dial to record the flow of power, and a way to control the power. In a greatly simplified form, we have the four elements needed in every timepiece.
Alright, so now that I've glued on most of the cardboard, I'm going to start working on gluing on paper to finish things up. Well, I mean, I still have actually some cardboard to glue on still. So the blade is gonna take I have a lot of stuff to do with cleaning this up because it's really bumpy and from all the layers of cardboard and the wire in the center. And the pommel, at no point in time was the pommel ever super janky. I mean, come on. And real quick off camera, I'm going to clean up the center of the crossguard, and then I'm going to glue on the pig face and the crown.
That's a telegraph message.
Yes. About 125 years ago, Samuel Morse invented the telegraph, a way to send code messages over an electric wire. The code was made by using different clicks for each letter of the alphabet. First message sent over 40 miles of wire was, "What has God wrought?" The telegraph was, and still is, wonderful.
Over the pommel, I glue on a layer of paper so that all has the same texture, and I'll later sand it so it doesn't have the wrinkly texture. I use a little bit of water to rip off the extra paper right where I need to. Plus, when the ripped edge gets glued down, it's harder to tell if it's there compared to a cut edge. Next, I'm going to wrap some cardboard around the handle so it's the right thickness. Now, on my last sword, this didn't go so well. It was really tough to glue on, and it was loose in a few spots, So this time I start by gluing it down with strips of paper so the starting point actually stays in place. I then glue on the cardboard. I had already sanded it and bent it slightly so that it's both easier to glue down and it's more likely to actually stay in place. While gluing, I make sure to hold it down so it has a little bit of time to glue into place. I ended up getting too much cardboard, so I cut off the extra. I then just put a ton of tape on. I really wanted this to stay in place and not unravel at all while the glue dried. I was pretty sure that some glue would squeeze out and effectively glue the tape onto the cardboard, but I didn't really care. Sure enough, it did, and the cardboard got super ripped up. It didn't really matter though, since I'll glue paper onto it later. Overall, gluing the handle on went well. Like the pommel, I glue paper onto the crossguard to make sure it all has the same texture. I carefully press it down, making sure it gets all the details. Later I'll sand it to get rid of the wrinkly texture. And you may be wondering, Mega, does this even do that much? It seemed fine before. And I mean, I guess the edges of the cardboard look kinda bad. Honestly, I don't really know either. It's just something I kinda do. And then fast forward to when I finished all the paper on the crossguard. It's sanding time, baby. It solves all your problems. And also causes all of them. This sword has taken a lot of sanding, and I'm pretty sure I've gone insane from it.
Try your love off a test. No, 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 no. Just no, 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 no. And every time I see him with you, my heart sounds like Shia LaBeouf too. No, 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 no. No, no. No, 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 no.
And we got our nice, mildly concerning writing, like Sic Semper Tyrannis, Blood for the Blood God, Anarchy, Orphan Obliterator. Which, I mean, some of that's gonna get covered up anyways, because I just remembered that I wanted to do little rivets, which some of the writing is there, so that's gonna get a bit covered up, but it'll be fine. Rivets are gonna be cool. And anyway, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do for colors. I think I'm going to go with sort of like an unenchanted netherite gray with a bit more of a red color. Maybe some highlights of a brighter red and some highlights of gold. But I'm not really that sure. I'm just going to kind of wing it a little bit. Let's see how it goes.
Stay easy, guys. See you back later.
Cause the anarchy's part of me, tyranny bothers me. End it all properly once and for all. They call us the villains, cause they know we'll take the fall. And all of the horses and all of the men won't learn from history. It's all the same in the end. I've told you once and I'll tell you again. The syndicate is looking for a couple new friends. Oh, a couple new friends. Oh,
So, I ended up changing my plans for how I'm going to paint the sword. Instead of going the red and gold highlights, I decided to go with diamond. So, you know how netherite is sort of an upgrade for diamond swords, right? Well, the idea behind this is that, like, with wear and tear, the netherite coating is starting to come off at the edges. I've seen this technique used before for things like prop guns where the surface coating is getting worn off. I'm not sure it worked that well with the diamond blue instead of metallic silver, since it isn't really something you're used to seeing where it's diamond underneath, and the blue paint is thinner, so it just looks like it was brushed on. I also added some diamond highlights to the vertical edges where the width of the sword changes. Even though I probably should have, I didn't bother to use masking tape because I'm lazy. In my opinion, the diamond looks alright with the gray. I guess it also looks kind of like Phil's texture pack, which makes sense considering that Phil and Techno live together. I didn't go purely off of this. After painting on the gray, I thought about it a bit and decided to go with the diamond instead of the red and gold. However, that does leave the question of what color to leave the crown, since gold isn't part of the color palette anymore. Right now, I'm thinking about either diamond or keeping the gold. Anyways, I continued to add on some more diamond until eventually I think it looks alright, and you can kind of see the effect if you think about it. So, yeah, I didn't really like the golds and it clashed with the rest of the sword too much, so I decided to just paint it the same shade of gray as the sword. I also added a silver sheen to it, because it is a crown after all. Off camera, I then added some silver to the diamond to make it look more like, well, sparkling diamond, and to make it stand out from the netherite gray. And also put on a gloss coat to make the sword all shiny, which on camera kind of looks like I'm just painting nothing since it's clear. Then, the last thing I have to do is to glue on the handle wrap. Is it Hogbenhide? Hopefully. I don't know what else it'd be, but it probably concerned me.
Next stop, New York City. Most of the sound factors are already known. The speed of the tape in recording, its playing time, and the sound level required. A fine-grained deposit of nickel. This makes smooth wall grooves. This takes precisely 2 minutes and 40 seconds. They have to be quick.
I have some shorter videos planned before my next sword video, so expect to see that soon. And sorry if this one was so long, but congratulations on making it to the end of the video! This would be where I ask you to subscribe and like the video, so do that, or else. Anyway, have a great day.